I'm your host, Sabrina Clark, and we have a wonderful program for you today. We're going to be talking about a health issue. We're going to look at hypnotherapy. We have with us in our studio today, we have Rich. Rich is from the Florida Hypnosis Center, and he is a certified hypnotist. Richard, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Very good. Now, we're going to be talking about a subject. I know when you heard the word hypnosis, hypnotist, you automatically think spooky, spooky, spooky. Well, we're going to dispel some myths on today as it relates to hypnosis. First of all, Rich, could you tell us exactly what is hypnosis / hypnotherapy? Could you explain to us that term?
Hypnosis, it's really a state of mind.
Okay.
It's a state where you're physically relaxed, but mentally very alert.
Physically relaxed, mentally alert.
Yes. And your brain actually produces different waves when you go into a trance state. Mm-hmm. Theta waves.
Okay. What areas can hypnotherapy be helpful in? Like in what situations would someone come in maybe to receive hypnosis?
Okay. There are really over 300 documented uses for hypnosis, and some of the ones that I deal with are weight loss, stop smoking, stress relief, and sports improvement, like golf, improving your golf game.
Okay, and does hypnosis actually help in the area of like reducing stress? What about anxiety?
Yes.
I mean, we face it on a daily basis.
It's really very, very good for relieving stress because it's completely natural. What it does, it trains your mind and your body to calm down and relax. And there's some techniques where we give you like a little thing where it's like a bubble of protection. Right? Negative people and situations and stress kind of roll off your back like water rolls off a duck's back, or it kind of bounces off of that. So have you ever had a situation where no matter what people tried to do to get your goat, they just couldn't?
Yes.
So it's about learning to develop that and being able to do it whenever you want.
Okay. How does hypnotherapy help people, and are there any risk involved with hypnotherapy? Now, I know you talked about, I guess you help a lot of people with nicotine addiction. Could you address that?
Yes. Okay. It helps people to stop smoking because it helps you to change the way you feel about cigarettes.
Okay, your perception of...
Yes. It's not people's fault they became smokers, because 90% of smokers had relatives or role models or peers that smoked, and they wanted to be like that. And I don't know if you remember candy cigarettes.
Yes, I remember candy cigarettes as a kid.
Now, when we were kids and we played with candy cigarettes, we were pretending to be like the big people, right? Which are our role models, the people we look up to. And then on the candy cigarettes, and they're sweet. So in your mind, even if you had a first cigarette, you had an association that smoking was pleasurable.
Okay.
And to me, that's a terrible use of marketing, because you're creating associations in children so that they think that smoking's pleasurable. And then when you come to have your first cigarette, right? I don't know if you've ever smoked.
No, I never have.
But when I had my first cigarette, right, my head spun around, right? I got dizzy and I fell down.
So it wasn't a pleasurable feeling. Okay.
Exactly. But people, because they're the only creatures that will die for their beliefs, because in your mind, in your unconscious mind, there's a perception that it's pleasurable. So you're going, no, it has to be pleasurable. So you continue to do it till you make it pleasurable. And then you become addicted to cigarettes because nicotine is a drug.
So now, how would you? So what would you? A person that came in and had, a nicotine addiction, or whether it was, it could be a food eating disorder.
Right.
Your challenge would be to help them to see the addiction or the cigarette or the food in a different light.
Right.
in essence.
changing it into something that's no longer pleasurable,
Okay.
so that you will avoid it and stay away from it. And then you have to develop the feelings of being very happy to be a non-smoker, that you're thankful that you're a non-smoker, that you're glad you quit. Because then you have to perceive being a non-smoker as the pleasurable thing.
And also, I would imagine too that the health benefits that are associated with, ridding yourself of nicotine,
Yes.
etc.
Well, there is a period, where you're going through the nicotine withdrawal, that you just, sometimes you have to tough it out. You have to be strong and just say, no, I'm not going to smoke, and not give in, because it will get better. The cravings will disappear after a while. They'll be gone.
How do you actually put people into a hypnotic state or
Okay. First of all, I educate them about hypnosis. I dispel the myths to get rid of common fears, because there's a lot of misconceptions about hypnosis.
You dispel the myths. You're right. There are a
Yes.
whole lot of myths regarding
Absolutely.
hypnosis, and maybe you can address some of those
Okay.
ones today.
And then after I do that, then I would just, get them into a relaxed state, have them close their eyes, take a deep breath, and guide them gently into a trance state. As long as they're willing to follow along, I can hypnotize anyone that's willing.
Now, tell me this, because on TV and in movies, I've seen people hypnotized. I don't know if that's correct. It's almost like they're a zombie,
Right.
Mind controller, out of touch. I mean, maybe you can address
And
that.
that's one of the misconceptions. That they're going to turn into a zombie.
Okay.
Well, that's not going to happen. The
Okay.
worst that could happen when somebody gets hypnotized is if they're sleepy, they drift off and take a nap. And that's okay too, because the unconscious mind is always listening. That's the part when babies cry, people hear it. Okay? And you're always in control when you're hypnotized. Some people think that a hypnotist can control them and make them do things. It's just not true. Because if that was true, my kids would have all gotten A's.
Your kids would have, yes.
Yeah.
So it's not mind control.
No, you're always in control when you're hypnotized. You'd never do anything against your morals or values.
Very good.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Because if you don't like a suggestion, you'll just reject it.
Okay. And that's important because, again, there are a lot of myths regarding hypnosis, and I mean, I'm glad that you're, clearing that up, that it is not mind control. People they are conscious.
Yes. Because you're going to hear everything. Hypnosis, you have the appearance like you're asleep. And hypnosis is actually the Greek word for sleep. That's where we got that word from. But it shouldn't have been called that. They tried to change it,
Okay.
but it had already, stuck. So that's why we call it hypnosis.
Now, how do you actually hypnotize someone? I mean, how do you, or how does it feel?
How does it feel? It's very relaxed. If you were to close your eyes, right, hypnosis feels a lot like that. You wouldn't expect to black out. Okay? Some people think they're going to black out and that they're not going to see anything, hear anything, feel anything. That's a misconception. You're aware of your surroundings and you hear everything that's said.
Okay. What about those stages of hypnosis wherein I've heard people say they were hypnotized and it made them do some strange and silly things? I mean, is that true?
You're
or not
referring
true?
to a comedy
Yeah.
show? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, primarily that's where I've
When you do a
heard it.
comedy hypnosis show, okay, the people that come up for the comedy hypnosis show, they're there to have fun.
Okay.
So they're willing to play along. And if you've ever seen a comedy hypnosis show, a lot of times the hypnotist will dismiss some of the people because they're not willing to follow along. All right, they're not willing to play. But the ones that are secure and are, they're willing to play. They'll do whatever goes along. It's not that you make them do anything. You set up the scene for them to play. Like, when I count to 3, you're going to be a goldfish in a bowl, swimming around, looking for food. Well,
Okay.
and if it
Okay.
sounds like fun, you'll do it. And so you'll
Exactly.
see people actually pretending that they're doing that, right? Or at the sound of the music, you're going to be a ballet dancer. So they'll stand up and, and they'll go through that.
Now tell me this. Now, let's talk about health again, because I know that's in the forefront of our minds. We want to have healthy bodies. We're living in a very stressful society. How can hypnosis help in reducing stress and anxiety, and even possibly lowering blood pressure?
It is documented that if you practice self-hypnosis, it will lower your blood pressure. Because if you think about it, it's fairly common sense that when you're stressed, you're constricting everything.
Okay.
Your blood vessels constrict, your blood pressure goes up. Now, with hypnosis, you're training yourself to become relaxed and to just loosen up. All right, and that's when you do that, you're allowing all the blood vessels to open up and your blood to flow freely. So that's one of the ways it works to help lower your blood pressure.
Is hypnosis natural? Do you feel like it's...
It is absolutely natural. Everyone does it all the time, and I can give you some examples of naturally occurring trance.
Okay.
Have you ever been driving along on the road and you miss your turn or your exit because your mind
many
is
times.
elsewhere?
That's happened to me many times.
That's what the
Rich.
DMV calls highway hypnosis.
Okay.
Or if you take a long trip and you don't remember the whole trip. And even, there's sections of the road where we'll travel often, and then you go, hey, I never saw that before. That's because you were in highway hypnosis.
Okay.
And have you ever seen someone staring off into the distance, zoning out?
Yes.
That's a perfect example of naturally occurring trance. And we all do it. And when you're doing it, you're inside, you're thinking about things deeply. And if you're really doing it, you're actually in a daydream making pictures in your mind.
What about hypnosis in the area of self-empowerment? Can you address that?
Okay. Hypnosis in the area of self-empowerment, well, it helps to improve your self-confidence. It helps to empower you because you learn that you can control your own emotions. And if you can control your inner state, your emotional state, you can accomplish whatever you set your mind to. It helps to open the door to taking responsibility for your life. And once you take responsibility for your life, you're finding out that there are a lot of things that you have control over, mostly yourself. There's a lot of things you don't have control over, like other people, the environment, right? So you learn to develop healthy boundaries, and you know that if you can affect relationships by changing yourself. It's not about changing the other person to make the relationship better. It's about empowering yourself to do what you want to do.
So in actuality, hypnosis, as you've discussed it and defined it, is really about changing your viewpoint or perspective on how you view yourself or how you view a particular thing.
That's right, and it's very good for improving self-esteem because healthy self-esteem, it comes from inside. It's about how I feel about me. It's about being able to look in the mirror and go, I like you.
Okay.
Okay, which a lot of problems and issues people have, it's they look in the mirror and they go, oh.
Right, they don't like what they see.
Exactly.
Right.
It is about self-acceptance.
What's the difference between, self-hypnosis, guided imagery, creative visualization, or meditation? What are the differences?
Pretty much, to me, they're all the same thing using different words, okay? With self-hypnosis, you're using affirmations a lot. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. I feel good about being this way, whatever it is. Also, with self-hypnosis, you do tend to use some visualization, mental imagery, which is basically guided imagery. Now, guided imagery is different because it's sort of the difference between using self-hypnosis and being hypnotized by someone else. When you're using guided imagery, somebody else is usually guiding the imagery.
Okay.
Which is, it's really hypnosis too, when you're using guided imagery.
Now, Rich, tell me this. How can our viewing audience get more information regarding your organization or getting in touch with you?
You can go to my website.
Go to your website?
Yes.
Okay.
It's floridahypnosis.org.
floridahypnosis.org?
Yes, one word.
Okay, and then there they can get more information. We thank you so much, Rich, for giving us this information regarding hypnosis, and we thank you for tuning in to our show. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thank you, Sabrina.